To meet this week's global teen, we head to Venezuela.
Hi, I'm Matias Zambrano. I live in Caracas, Venezuela. My mother is working in a school administration, and my father is a lawyer. Yes, because I learn a lot and hang out with my friends. In my free time, I play trumpet. I love classical music, and my favorite piece is Francesca da Rimini by Tchaikovsky. I would like to be a symphony orchestra conductor. Well, in this generation, we have more opportunities. But in the old days, there was a better quality of life. The biggest problems in the world, in my opinion, are drugs and violence.
Little Britain in the Dordogne. Fed up with the chaos of Brexit and Britain's economic crisis, more and more Brits are moving to France. But new beginnings can be tricky. A story of language barriers, bureaucracy, and more. Baguettes, not Brexit.
In 15 minutes on DW. What are sports all about? Winning? Fighting? Scoring? We say they're about never giving up. The most exciting sports stories about people, their passions, and their drive. Sports Life, every weekend on DW. Old friends, new fronts. Can NATO defend itself in case of an emergency?
We cannot guarantee that we could protect Munich, Frankfurt, Berlin. Can't do it.
Faced with Russia's war against Ukraine, the world's greatest military alliance shows weaknesses. Can NATO offer its members sufficient protection?
European security basically depends to 90% on the US.
If it were attacked, would the alliance really close ranks? Our two-part documentary series, NATO, starts April 4th on DW.
Yulia Navalnaya in Berlin, the widow of Putin's most famous rival, Alexei Navalny. He died suddenly in a prison camp. His wife holds the Kremlin's leader responsible.
There could be no any negotiations and nothing with Mr. Putin, because he is a killer, he is a gangster, he is the person who brought my country to the war.
Yulia Navalnaya intends to continue Navalny's fight. As do Ivan and Natasha. They're members of a Russian anti-war movement.
How does it feel to be a Russian national traitor?
In exile, they're campaigning for a free Russia and against the war their home country is waging against Ukraine. But what can a protest like this from afar achieve? Yulia Navalnaya in Berlin. She wants to fulfill her husband's final wish to protest Putin's re-election. And encourage Russian opponents of the regime.
Thank you for the hope. My deepest condolences.
Thank you, you're the best. It's so nice that you want to continue your husband's mission. He was a great hope for us. It died along with him, but it's come back in you.
We're from Kirov and stand by you. And St. Petersburg.
Following Navalny's death, his wife addressed Russians via YouTube. All of Putin opponents should go to their polling stations at noon on March 17th and stand together against Putin. In Russia, it's the only legal opportunity to gather in public. Many Russians in exile abroad also followed Yulia Navalnaya's call.
I want Putin to disappear from the lives of Russians. He is the most terrible thing that has happened to Russia since the Stalin era.
Yes, it's important to show that we are against war, we are not Putin, and we are against Putin. He is a killer and he is a criminal.
He remains in power, but many opponents of the regime remain in Russia and they feel isolated. We have to show them that they are not alone.
I know that it makes little sense to protest here, but that's exactly what Putin wants, for us not to be seen.
Weapons for Ukraine!
Good evening, my name is Natalia. I'm from a Russian survey service. We're conducting a survey. Would you have time for me?
Only if it's quick. Go ahead.
Thank you.
A few days earlier, we meet activists from the global network Free Navalny. They've rented co-working spaces to run their anti-Putin campaign from. They're calling voters in Russia to speak to Putin supporters about the war in Ukraine, its victims and the costs. Natasha has been here from the beginning. We aren't supposed to mention her surname.
We try to argue very carefully against the Russian government. Perhaps they have never been confronted with a different opinion in their lives. We want to make people like that think.
It's a difficult task in times of military censorship because anyone in Russia who criticizes the Russian army for its actions in Ukraine risks going to prison for several years. Many calls go unanswered, but the activists carry on, just as Alexei Navalny once said.
Здесь у меня просто очевидная вещь. Не сдавайтесь. Не надо, нельзя сдаваться. Все, что нужно для торжества зла, это бездействие добрых людей. Поэтому бездействовать не надо.
But how effective is such a protest, especially at a distance?
My impression is that we're sitting around, waiting for someone to finish Putin off. We talk a lot, but never about how to actually topple this regime. It could be a mistake.
Putin is the kind of person who only understands power if he understands anything at all.
A view that is shared by more and more opponents of the regime. But unlike their like-minded peers in Russia, they can turn their anger into action here, in freedom without fear of draconian repression. A group selfie, admittedly in Berlin, but the message is aimed at Russia. Navalnaya has over 1 million followers on Instagram. Immediately after her husband's death, she declared she would continue his work. A month later, her followers in Berlin are welcoming her like a star. Could she become the new face of the Russian opposition?
I hope that she stays alive, that what happened to Alexei Navalny doesn't happen to her.
For me, she's already the face of the Russian opposition. She'll soon show her potential as a politician.
She could become president. Of course, she is taking a big risk. She has already lost her husband, but has the strength to fight on.
If she was in the list, she would be the only one in this list who would make the things better.
Yet not everyone here has come to the Russian embassy to protest, or if only symbolically to vote against Putin in the rigged election.
We're for Putin. We're for Russia. For the best president.
No, we're not against Putin. No. We want everything for Russia.
And yet Russian supporters of Putin are not in the majority in Berlin. They have to listen to the protests if they like it or not.
Россия против Путина! Нет войне! Нет войне! Нет войне! Нет войне!
Yulia Navalnaya has been standing in the queue for 6 hours now, along with hundreds of others. Some here are worried whether the opposition politician will be able to leave the embassy safely after casting her vote.
Of course it's dangerous. It's the Russian embassy. They'll stop at nothing. The German police can stand for democracy, but inside the embassy they have no influence.
Finally, she's made it. A change of scene. We're back with Natasha, Ivan and their friends. They've called their group Free Navalny Germany. Natasha has been living in Germany for a while.
How does it feel to be a Russian national traitor?
Natasha is 19 years old. She's never known a Russian president other than Putin. Dima and Ivan only recently fled Russia to escape mobilization and repression.
We want peace for Russia, we want democracy for Russia, and we just want people to live in freedom and not be afraid of them to get in jail every day. Now I think we have the responsibility to stop it before Putin wants to blow up the whole world with his nuclear weapons.
With these stickers, they want to draw attention to their work and show that they exist.
We would like to be able to put up these stickers in Russia and not have to fear for our lives and our freedom.
Ideally, there would be no need to post these stickers. If there was no war and no Putin, if Russia had taken a different path a long time ago. But that can no longer be reversed. That's why things are the way they are now. We have to keep on fighting.
A sigh of relief. After about 20 minutes, Yulia Navalnaya comes out of the Russian embassy.
Yulia, why are you here?
You're probably wondering what I wrote on the ballot paper, who I voted for. Of course, I wrote the name Navalny. It can't be that during the presidential election campaign, just 1 month before the election, Putin's most important opponent, already imprisoned, is murdered.
She's not yet ready to answer the journalists' many questions, as if she was still gathering her strength for her new role, a politician who wants to challenge Putin from exile. Up until now, she had only wanted to be an advisor to her husband, the most important member of the opposition. After his unexplained death, though, she seems to not have another choice.
What's your message to Russia? Just be brave. One day, very soon, we will win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Her anger at Putin and his secret services is enormous. Alexei Navalny was once rescued from a Novichok poisoning in a Berlin clinic, yet he returned and was immediately arrested. He continued to fight from prison until he collapsed there and died.
It couldn't be any messages to Mr. Putin, nothing. That's it.
Now she steps into his footsteps. She's willing to take the risk for the fight that made her husband pay the ultimate price for a free Russia. And she's not alone.
Little Britain in the Dordogne. Fed up with the chaos of Brexit and Britain's economic crisis, more and more Brits are moving to France. But new beginnings can be tricky. A story of language barriers, bureaucracy, and more. Baguettes, not Brexit.
Next on DW.
No more tangled cables. This is how you fill up on electricity while you drive. Inductive charging is transforming roads into power outlets. And it's energy you can get on the go. Is this goodbye to overhead lines and co? Will charging stations be a thing of the past?
Tomorrow Today. In 30 minutes on DW. Learn German with DW. While singing,
ohne Sprache ist man ganz allein.
Cheering, or empathizing. This award-winning offer is available worldwide and for every language level. Learning German has never been simpler. German to go. Online, on Facebook, the App Store, and YouTube.
If we speak the same language, share the same culture, same country, how did we become different? How was this hate planted? 1 million people were murdered in just 100 days. My parents and a big part of my family were killed. I'm on a journey to find out about the roots of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. My name is Samuel Ishimwe. I'm a filmmaker.
Reclaiming History. Our documentary starts April 6th on DW.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. Turkey's main opposition party is celebrating what appear to be major victories in nationwide local elections. Partial results show the ruling party of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan heading for defeat in the key cities of Ankara and Istanbul. Sunday's elections are being seen as an important bellwether of support for Erdogan as Turkey battles an economic crisis. An Israeli airstrike hit a tent camp inside a hospital compound in central Gaza, killing at least 2. The bomb struck the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa hospital, where thousands of displaced people have been sheltering for months. The Israeli military said one of the dead was a senior militant of the Islamic Jihad group. Pope Francis led Easter Sunday Mass at the Vatican in front of some 30,000 Catholic faithful. Despite persistent rumors about the 87-year-old pontiff's health, he appeared in good form. He used his Easter message on Christianity's holiest day to invoke prayers for the victims of war. You're watching DW News from Berlin. There's a lot more on our website at dw.com.
Dordogne, Lot-et-Garonne. These regions of France are steeped in tradition and history, but they're changing as a growing number of Brits move in, drawn by the beauty and the lower cost of living.
And I'll have a packet of Cumberlands.
A packet of Cumberland as well. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend. Cheers. Bye.
The new arrivals are buying up and renovating properties, but cultures often clash. For example, when it comes to lunch breaks.
I just don't get the 12 o'clock, everything has stopped. Literally, they'll stop. Doesn't matter what they're doing, they'll stop and then they'll till 2 o'clock. And they can't work because they're half drunk.
The Union Jack is gradually finding a home in southwestern France. But the process of settling in is not without hurdles. Nicola and Graham Parker. She's an accountant, he's a handyman. They moved to France in 2022. Their picturesque country house, built in 1780, boasts outbuildings and a converted holiday flat they intend to rent out to visitors. Graham Parker's lifelong dream. He and his wife left Norfolk for a fresh start. After 38 stressful years working in England, he now wants a slower pace of life. That was the plan. In reality, he's working as hard as ever. Their gîte, or holiday flat, needs another bedroom.
Currently at the minute we have 3, and the most inquiries we seem to be getting is for a 4th bedroom. So hence building this. So it's going to be a bedroom with ensuite and access out straight out to the pool. And I've got just over a month to build it before they start coming. No pressure.
The couple needs to start recouping the costs of the renovation soon. Most of the holiday flat is ready to welcome guests. But which authorities do the Parkers have to register their business with? And what taxes will they have to pay? They still have a lot of unanswered questions. But first, they need to finish the renovations. Graham is still getting used to the fact that he pretty much has to do everything himself.
Problem I have with French workers at the minute is we ask them to come and price jobs, we ask them to come and look at jobs, but they just don't turn up, or they turn up and then never return with a costing or price. We did want to bring in French people, but we're just really struggling at the minute to get them to do and come and do any work.
The couple have 20 hectares. Graham wants the new pool to be ready by summer. He and Nicola sold their home in the east.
Was macht ihn denn hier so besonders?
Ja, die Sachen kommen aus Gablons. Das ist ein böhmisches Kunsthandwerk. Das gibt schon relativ lange. Uns ist es vielleicht nicht so bekannt. Wir kennen es normalerweise, die glitzerigen Sachen von Weihnachten. Aber die machen auch ganz, ganz tolle Sachen für Ostern. Und dementsprechend habe ich mir gedacht, beim letzten Ostermarkt müsste ich noch einmal mitmachen.
Ja, man muss sagen, es sticht auch wirklich ins Auge, dieses Glitzer, wunderschön. Wie schaut es denn da so preislich aus? Ich meine, Osterschmuck, Osterdekorationen, aber auch Weihnachten ist ja manchmal auch ins Geldbörsel gehen, auch wenn man es gerne ausgibt, besonders wenn es so schön glitzert.
Ja, also ich glaube, ab 4,90 € ist man bei mir dabei. Für die ganz kleinen Eier verlange ich glaube, zwischen 92 und 93. Und dann gibt es für die ganz pompösen natürlich schon ein bisschen höhere Preise. Da geht es dann rauf bis zu 28 €. Also das ist immer je nach Aufwand. Wenn viele Steine drauf sind, wenn die besonders schön geschmückt sind, dann kann das schon ein bisschen mehr kosten.
Sind das alles handgemachte Sachen? Also es sind ja sehr filigrane Sachen dabei. Ich sehe da bemalte Ostereier, dann die einzelnen Glitzersteine und so weiter. Ist das alles Handarbeit?
Genau, das ist alles Handarbeit. Das ist wie ein Etappenlauf. Da machen mehrere Personen unterschiedlichste Dinge. Einer macht halt nur das Glas, da wird dann die Form halt eben gemacht aus Glas. Das kommt dann transparent aus der Form raus. Damit es eben nicht mehr transparent ist, kommt ein Silbersulfid rein, damit man sozusagen eine Oberfläche hat, die man bemalen kann. Obendrauf auf das Glas wird dann noch einmal bemalt und noch eine separate Person macht dann eben alles, was mit Glitzer und mit Steinen zu tun hat. Farbe sollte sich nämlich nicht irgendwie kontaminieren mit Glitzer und dementsprechend muss das alles in verschiedenen Stationen abgearbeitet werden.
Sehr schön. Darf ich auch noch fragen, jetzt sind Sie natürlich am Ostersonntag hier und verkaufen natürlich diese wunderschönen Eier, aber Frage, Ostern ist ein großes Traditionsfest. Was ist denn Ihnen die wichtigste Tradition, jetzt abgesehen davon, mit Eiern vielleicht die Wohnung zu schmücken?
Ja, mit der Familie zusammen sein. Wir werden das Osterfest natürlich heute nachholen. Ich bin den ganzen Tag hier, aber ja, mit der Familie seinen Segen sozusagen haben. Ja.
Das ist sehr schön. Und so, ich meine, ich habe da jetzt schon gesehen, ich stehe auch ein bisschen im Weg. Ganz viele Leute haben da großes Interesse an diesen Osterschmuck. Wie ist man denn zufrieden mit dem Anlauf? Also wie viele Leute kommen denn tatsächlich vorbei und nehmen dann auch was mit?
Also es war eigentlich sehr zufriedenstellend dieses Jahr. Ich muss auch sagen, weil das Wetter wirklich sehr großzügig mitgespielt hat. Letztes Jahr hatten wir um die Zeit Schneestürme und Hagel und es war sehr kalt. Und dieses Jahr haben wir wirklich ein sehr sommerliches, schönes Wetter. Die Leute gehen auch gern vor die Tür, wenn es halt eben ein bisschen schöner ist. Und dementsprechend, ja, es war schon sehr gut besucht dieses Jahr.
Sie haben jetzt schon angesprochen, letzter Ostermarkt. Gibt es jetzt keinen mehr oder wie geht es da weiter?
Er wird wahrscheinlich in einem anderen Stil stattfinden. Also wir wissen noch nicht ganz genau wie und wann. Wir eigentlich wissen noch alle nicht wirklich Bescheid und es gibt leider noch keine Ausschreibung. Also müssen wir uns noch ein bisschen gedulden. Nur wir glauben natürlich, dass es in dem Rahmen so schön, wie es halt immer jetzt stattgefunden hat, die letzten Jahre, wird es wahrscheinlich nicht mehr stattfinden.
Das heißt, ich habe jetzt schon rausgehört, Sie sind, sage ich mal, Serientäterin und immer wieder auf den Ostermärkten zu Hause.
Genau, ja, eigentlich schon. Also die letzten paar Jahre war ich dabei. Ich stehe normalerweise mit einer Christbaumschmuckhütte in der anderen Ecke hinten, wie man wahrscheinlich auch ein bisschen unschwer erkennen kann. Aber ich war jetzt insgesamt, ich glaube, die letzten 10 Jahre oder so dabei und es ist halt schon eine eingeschworene kleine Familie, muss man auch ein bisschen sagen. Man trifft sich jedes Jahr wieder und man willkommen heißt auch natürlich die neuen Leute, die jedes Jahr kommen. Also ja, es trifft mir ein bisschen das Herz.
Aber das heißt, dass kleine Familie, da gibt es keine Ellbogentaktik hier unter den Standbesitzern?
Nein, wir sind eher sehr, sehr großzügig auch untereinander. Wenn es Dinge gibt, die ich einfach nicht anbieten kann, dann schicke ich auch die Leute gerne woanders hin, wenn ich es einfach nicht habe. Und umgekehrt kann ich mir auch wirklich erwarten, dass es eigentlich auch funktioniert. Dementsprechend, wir schicken uns auch schon gegenseitig die Leute auch. Also es ist wirklich kein, das machen wir hier nicht, deswegen ist es so schön in Schönbrunn.
Sehr schön, also auch ganz im Sinne sozusagen des Osterfestes. Dann sage ich vielen, vielen Dank für die Auskunft, für die Informationen und natürlich den Glimpse auf diese wunderschönen Ostereier. Ja, und damit schauen wir vielleicht noch ein bisschen weiter in die andere Richtung, bewegen uns da ein bisschen nach vorne. Ich sehe da schon handgemachte, genähte Geschenke und oh, da können wir auch mal vorbeischauen. Natürlich, auf einem Ostermarkt darf das Essen auch nicht fehlen. Und hier gibt es eine Reihe an Suppen, die angeboten werden. Karottensuppe, Gemüsesuppe, Hühnersuppe. Also soweit das Auge reicht, da ist sogar für die Vegetarischen und Veganer etwas mit dabei, was ja oftmals bei so Märkten immer wieder etwas schwierig ist, die ja doch eher geprägt sind von Leberkäse und Würsteln und so weiter. Also es zahlt sich auf jeden Fall aus, hier beim Ostermarkt vorbeizuschauen und da noch den Ostersonntag zu genießen.
Ja, die Osterbräuche, die werden in Österreich weiter hochgehalten. Aber was feiern wir eigentlich zu Ostern? Was ist der tatsächliche religiöse Hintergrund? Dazu berichten wir jetzt.
Ostern gilt weltweit als das wichtigste christliche Fest. Es erinnert an die Auferstehung Jesu Christi von den Toten, nachdem er am Kreuz gestorben war. Die Geschichte findet ihren Ursprung in der Bibel im Neuen Testament. Die Auferstehung, die am 3. Tag nach Jesu Tod gefeiert wird, symbolisiert den Sieg des Lebens über den Tod und ist ein Grundpfeiler des christlichen Glaubens. Die Osterfeierlichkeiten beginnen mit der Fastenzeit, die 40 Tage vor Ostersonntag startet. Diese Zeit dient den Gläubigen zur Reflexion und Vorbereitung auf das Osterfest. Der Karfreitag, an dem die Kreuzigung Jesu gedacht wird, und der darauf folgenden Kar-Samstag sind Tage der Stille und des Gebets. Der Höhepunkt der Osterfeierlichkeiten ist der Ostersonntag, an dem Christen die Auferstehung Jesu feiern. In vielen Kirchen finden spezielle Gottesdienste statt, die oft mit der Osternacht beginnen und die Freude über das neue Leben zum Ausdruck bringen. Ostern hat auch zahlreiche Bräuche und Traditionen, die von Land zu Land variieren können. Dazu gehören das Bemalen und Verstecken von Ostereiern, Osterfeuer, Ostermärsche und das Osterlamm als traditionelles Mahl. Die Eier und das Lamm haben dabei symbolische Bedeutungen. Eier stehen für neues Leben und Wiedergeburt, während das Lamm an das Opfer Jesu erinnert. Neben den religiösen Aspekten ist Ostern in vielen Kulturen
govorite mi ljudje, da delam, kar ne splača se. Jaz obdelujem grudo to z veseljem in ljubeznijo. Bogat nikdar ne bom od nje, a vendar zame sveta je. Hranila vedno je naš rod, jaz beli svet ne grem od tod. Večerno sonce jablane poboža in sence legajo na smrekov gaj. Cvet razkošen k meni sklanja roža. Srečen sem, ker tu je moj mali raj. Cvet razkošen k meni sklanja roža. Srečen sem, ker tu je moj mali raj. Je dedek jablane sadil da jasnih sadež bi uživ. I nežna roka mamina to zemljico je božala. Kako bi jaz jo zdaj izdal in za denarjem se pehal, potem pa s prazno dušo šel, zapustil kamen in plevel. Večerno sonce jablane poboža in sence legajo na sprehov gaj. Cvet razkošek meni sklanja roža. Srečen sem, ker tu je